We are live on the Virtual Grip Network, and once again, we hop in the DeLorean to travel back in time to 1966 for this year's YesterYear Tour Modifieds, where some of the best Tour Mod drivers will compete for one of the most prestigious and unique titles on the iRacing platform, the Old Red Boot. I'm Zach Chapman, a.k.a. Shaggy, along with my partner in crime, J.R. Shepard. We're lucky enough to have the heartbeat of EGN, the absolute best at bringing all the sights and sounds, the one and only Ryan Seneker. After a long summer break, the YesterYear Tour Mods returned to action with a 100-lap showdown at the Stafford Motors Speedway. If you happen to miss it, let's fill you in. And what might as well have been called the Brian Bianchi 100, the defending champion started up front, and he sure as heck stayed there the whole time as the rest of the field fought tooth and nail behind. It was truly a picture-perfect race for Bianchi, who after a tough start to the season needs every point he can if he wants to run down the point leader, Mr. Tom Ogle. Tom left Stafford with P2, allowing him to increase his point lead to 9 over his rival, Todd Liston, who still searches for win number 1 on the season. Could Mr. Consistency find his way to victory lane for week 9? Let's find out as the drivers get ready to strap in and go racing for 300 laps in the King of the Modifieds at the South Boston Speedway. When we ran this race back in 1966, Burt Brown took home the checkered flag along with $1,000, worth about 10 grand in today's money. He also picked up another $100 bonus from a fan who had put a bounty out on Ray Hendrick. The Richmond native had dominated the competition throughout the season, but when the dust settled, he was 8 seconds behind in front of a record-breaking 8,000 fans who were in attendance. Now, JR, no money on the line, but we got a lot of folks tuned in here tonight. And what can they expect out here in the tobacco fields of Virginia?
Well, tonight is going to be a real challenge for these drivers here at South Boston. This place, it's only 0.4 of a mile in length, but the majority of your time is going to be spent in the corners. That alone is going to be fatiguing to the drivers, but more importantly, tonight's race will be mentally exhausting. It is so easy to make a mistake around here, and if you do, that driver behind you will be there to pounce. These Tour Modifieds, the handling, it's going to be a little bit loose on corner entry. These cars, they do tend to push slightly in the center and then snap loose again on the exit as you apply that throttle. So contact while racing side by side here is going to be extremely likely. But Shaggy, this place, it can get very narrow, especially on the straights. If we see that contact I just spoke about while the drivers are exiting one of these corners, it might just collect and end a lot of these drivers' night. This is a place that is unforgiving if an accident occurs anywhere near you. We saw this in races here earlier in the year, so I know it will be on these drivers' minds once again here tonight.
No, and I mean, it's currently underway, but the thing on the driver's mind right now, we mentioned it a little bit when we came here the first time, JR, but you said how tight the track was. I mean, we saw a big accident. It almost looked like Talladega, obviously at low speeds, but nowhere to go. And with that in mind, you got to qualify here tonight, don't you think? I mean, if you put yourself in the back half of the field, I mean, you're fighting uphill the rest of the race. I mean, it's going to be difficult to make it home.
It's a big disadvantage if you don't qualify or if you have a poor qualifying lap here, because if you're in the middle of the pack, back of the pack, it is very likely that you're going to get caught up in someone else's mess. You don't have to do anything wrong yourself, but if there is an accident here, you will get taken out in it because it is so hard to get around accidents here on the straight. And the other thing to think about, and this goes back to the races earlier this season as well, if drivers spin on the apron in the corners here, which happens a lot, the caution does not always come out. So you do have to be constantly looking for those cars turning around on track, because you could come up on someone turning around while that green flag is still out.
Oh, yeah, you're exactly. We're going to have to see some guys determine whether or not maybe it's smarter to enter on that backstretch pit road, JR, instead of coming up on the track there at that point. I guess it's going to all kind of depend on, what incident's going on, how many guys are around. But let's go ahead, man. Let's take a look at this starting lineup. Qualifying is already over, and And, you know, we'll pull up that points list later here at sometime during the race, maybe a caution or so, but top two in points, it's not too good for them here in qualifying. Is row number 1, Brian Bianchi on pole. To the outside, Jerry Isaacs.
Inside row 2, we got Alan Wanamaker. On the outside, Ken Allen.
Scott Negus to the inside of row 3. To the top shelf, Lloyd Moore.
Rolling off in 7th place tonight, we got Brian Johnson in that 27 car. On the outside in 8th, the 22 of Bruce Pearson.
Randy Schuler lines up on the inside of row 5. To the top shelf, Brian Neff.
Inside of row 6, your points leader Tom Ogle. On the outside in 12th, Gavin Adams.
Eric Essery, we're going to go with on the inside of row 7. To the top shelf, Mr. Consistency, Todd Listens.
Rolling off in 15th place, we got Jeff Lemire. Outside in 16th, Tom Hilbert.
Chris Davis lines up on the inside of row 9. To the outside, the Lipper, Chris Hazlett.
And rolling off, last line in the field tonight, we got Torrance Childs in 19th place. In 20th, Rory Collins.
You know what, real quick here, they just started rolling. Ryan, can we just pop up the points just real quick here? Yeah, that way you can see Tom Ogle comes in with a 9-point lead over Liston. Brian Johnson, 10 points back. Brian Johnson, the best qualifier out of the top 3, but I'd say the big winner looking at that right now, got to think JR Ken Allen. I mean, he could make up some ground here tonight.
Absolutely, and Ken is good at tracks like this, especially in the higher powered Tour Modified, so could be a big night for him for sure.
Oh, you can click that away, Ryan, but we should mention, you know, double points for races over 250 miles. We are doing 300 laps, but this is not over 250 miles, so long race tonight, just normal points. So it's, you know, it's a lot of work here for bringing home what you were working for last week, but this is, I like it, JR. You got two different styles here. Champion really going to show here.
Absolutely. It's all about surviving and not making mistakes. That's how you get championships. So we'll see who can do it here tonight.
The pace truck pulls off, the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. 300 laps to play at the South Boston Speedway. Good jump there for Bianchi. And, man, right where he left off, JR, led all 100 last week. I mean, I don't know. Could he possibly? 300's a long time.
It's a long time, but he's extremely good at the short tracks, and he has the most wins this season. He's had some bad luck in a couple of races, but most wins, so he could absolutely go out there and dominate. But right now, Jerry Isaacs is trying to chase him down.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, really bad luck, and truthfully, only the one race. I mean, he had an average finish in the other, but the one race, JR, was that double points race at Daytona, so it just shows how bad one race can really mess you up. And we got a guy loose on the inside. That's Randy Schuler in the 31 machine. He's letting a lot of cars go by, JR. He's having to gather that thing up, but 5 spots down from he started 9th back to 14th.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He got a little bit loose running that apron, which happens in these cars, but then he started having some bumper tag from behind. So absolutely, if you're not comfortable with what your car's doing early, let drivers go by, let that car come to you. The most important thing is to stay on the lead lap. There is no lucky dog in this series.
No, and we're on the same page, JR, because, I mean, in a flash, we're 6 laps underway, or on lap 6, excuse me. And at the tail end of the field, you know, 20 cars. I mean, they're not a half a track behind yet, JR, but it is pretty darn close. And, I mean, we mentioned a little bit before the show, you know, I mean, this could be one of those races where, you could find yourself, if you're struggling, I mean, 10 laps down realistically by the end of this thing if it stays green.
Absolutely. I mean, it happens quick, and we see Brian Johnson on screen getting a little bit loose. But what tends to happen around South Boston is you will get these single file lines that form. Drivers, they are trying to hang on. For number one, they're trying to turn laps. It's a 300 lap race, so nobody's being real aggressive at the moment. Everybody's kind of single file, but that will start to close back up, because as the leaders catch the end of this field, drivers will start to get antsy. We talked about it. There's no lucky dog. You do not want to go a lap down. So I expect these drivers to fight that leader when he does get on their back door.
No, and other than Daytona this year, JR, I can't think of a race that we came to where we were forced to make a pit stop. You know, obviously we had tire stops coming in. Maybe you needed some new rubber, but tonight, I mean, you have to come down. We're guessing around, or I am personally, around 230, you know, if you really needed to. I don't know if you'd want to go that far, but I can tell you what you don't want to do, JR. Be that first guy to come down pit road, because I would think a green flag pit stop, you're going to go at minimum a lap down. I mean, possibly two.
Absolutely. For me, if I'm out front in contention to win this race, I'm going to be one of the last cars to pit. Now, there will be an advantage if you can get on and off road quickly. You'll get the fresh tires. You'll be able to turn faster lap times and potentially, undercut that driver that you're racing. We see some contact there with Neff into the back of the 26. But there is the potential to make up ground by pitting early, but there's also the chance that there could be a caution. And cautions do happen when you get cars that are running at different speeds, cars that are on new tires versus old tires. So for me, I'm going to stay out as long as I can.
And Lloyd Moore, he's able to gather it up there, as you see, but he did lose another one there to Tom Ogle and JR. You know, we're not going to poke the bear here, but that happened on lap 14, I think. I mean, how frustrated are you if you're under the helmet of that 26? I mean, it's a little early to be playing like that. You can see, I mean, Ryan, he gets it done, but look, 5 more cars in front of him, JR. I mean, where's he going to go?
Absolutely. You know, it's a risk versus reward thing, and every driver's going to approach the race differently. Like I said, it's 300 laps. I'm going to try to be pretty patient, see what the car is doing, let the race come to me. Other drivers see that as an opportunity to attack because they know the other drivers are not going to be aggressive at this point. So right now, Neff being a little bit aggressive because this is a place where he can really start to move forward. He can make up a lot of ground because the other drivers are not going to fight him hard.
And Scott Negus, he may feel that aggression here pretty soon. Neff trying to set him up here. He was all over the rear bumper through 1 and 2 there. He had to hit the brakes as Negus had to check up for Wanamaker. Good job there by Neff reacting, because we've talked about it all season, JR. Go on board here with him, Ryan, if you don't mind. Do we have the cockpit camera? Yeah, with either one as Brian Neff makes the move. I just want to make the point here of how hard it is to see. Oh, it's Negus. Oh, he got a shot there from Neff. Neff then gets turned, car to the inside. No caution flag because it's in the land that, that's a dangerous pull back up the racetrack, but no caution once again. And, oh, man. Well, JR, it happens quick at South Boston.
It does. And, you know, it's interesting what happened there. We'll get a look here. You actually see, ultimately, it's Ogle getting into the back of Neff, and, you know, those two had some contact the last time we were here, so not surprising to see that myself. But, yeah, definitely Neff losing out. And right before that, you can see Neff and Negus making some contact.
We did just get a caution. Not to interrupt you, JR, but we got a car on the inside. Jeff Lemire, he gets loose, I believe, coming off of turn 4. Couldn't tell if it's a solo spin, but he's sitting in front of the starter stand. So something happens coming out of 4 here as we get a replay. Let's see. It looks like he maybe got a little tap and then got a little loose and then got another tap there by Davis. And you can see he parks it there for the fans. Take a good look at that ride.
Yeah, and we'll get another look here, and this is very much a characteristic of racing here at South Boston. So, Davis was ultimately trying to be patient initially through the corner. He saw that opening, wanted to go for it, and then he backed out of it. He thought that Jeff was leaving him enough room, so he stuck his nose back in there. But coming off of the corners here, if you're that inside car, your car wants to wash up the track. If you've got a car that's real close to you, like we saw there with Jeff, contact tends to be made. That's just a characteristic you have to recognize.
Jerry Isaacs is in the lead because I'm assuming your leader here, Ryan Bianchi, came down pit road. I'm going to rewind here.
He did, and he took 2 tires, Shaggy.
And I can tell you, JR, dang it, they beat me to it because we were looking at that replay. I was going to say, now Bianchi took the strategy out because, let's be honest, JR, do we think that's the last caution? I think here, if you pit, you're maybe only 10 laps short. Man, you play the strategy game and you stay out the rest of the way. But you know as well as I do now, that's a lot of guys in front of you. Danger. Got to be on a high alert now.
It's a big gamble for sure because he's going to be back in the pack now. They do start single file, so that's a little bit of an advantage because that takes away that side-by-side potential contact that can be made for a little while. But yeah, he came in and got 2 tires. He's going to have fuel. They're back to racing now, but it's going to be a gamble.
Oh, big wreck on the front stretch. Big wreck on the front stretch. And guess what? Bianchi, he is in the middle of the parking lot here, JR. I couldn't tell how much damage, but he was in it.
He absolutely was. I think he's going to get away with it. I think he was able to slow down with minimal contact to his tires. And oh, we see the leader on screen actually getting collected by the car turning around, and that's what happens here. It happens. I've had it happen to me, and it really stinks. So we'll have to see if that lets Isaacs get his spot back or not. I know in the past it would not let the leader have that spot back after he came to stop.
Oh man, let's try to die. What happened here is I get my breath back. Oh, the 31, he just gets a shot there, big checkup, and well, he stuck to the inside, luckily long enough here. Nobody was coming back up the way when he tried to turn around, but man, that's gonna, Tom Hilbert, that's gonna have a lot of damage to that thing, and he's still sitting on pit road, so he's gonna go a lot down.
Yeah,
Brian Bianchi, you can see there, he hit someone in the rear end, and then he gets a shot. That's the risk there, JR.
It's definitely the risk. I think he's going to be very lucky and get away with that one. Yeah, and it does look like Isaac's going to maintain the lead here, but yeah, definitely Bianchi. He's back in 15th after that, about where he was before that last start, but I think he's going to be able to get away with it. But again, like you said, that's the risk you take by trying to go off strategy. He's hoping that he now can have enough fuel to make it the rest of the way, especially with some more cautions. The thing he's going to fight is probably going to be tires, though, because I do think at some point there's going to be some strategy change with a untimely caution, and drivers are going to take tires, and Bianchi's probably going to be forced to stay out in order to regain that position.
Speaking of untimely here, I'm not sure if we'll get extended. Yeah, lights do go back on because their car's coming to a stop. I never really thought about this, JR. So, you know, we're used to, if you get trapped behind that pace car, so the guys had to slow down. They never got lapped by the leader, but because they're stuck behind the pace car, they don't get that wave around. And man, they got trapped the lap down now. So that doomed those 4 guys who just really did the right thing and came to a stop. That's a tough break. So Bianchi, I mean, he was in that, one of the guys stopping it. He's a lap down. You know as well as I do, JR. I mean, he can do a lot of things, but driving through this field twice, I don't think so.
This is, yeah, that's going to be a big ask for sure. So he's got the speed to do it. The problem is whether things are going to work out for him. So if he can go up there and get in front of our leader, which will be a tall task, there is the possibility a caution comes out. But that's the only way you're going to get your lap back. You have to go up there and get it. So he knows what he's got to do now. It's still early in this race, but he's got to run hard.
And Brian Johnson, who was 3rd in points, he's also stuck a lap down. This is really going to shake it up here as Jerry Isaacs enters the restart zone, drops the hammer. Boy, he was shot out of a cannon. I mean, I'm not too sure who was that there as I scroll. Ken Allen maybe caught sleeping a little bit there. I mean, you can park a couple trailers in between those two right now, JR. What a restart.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, in this series, we have to go on green. So you're not watching that car in front of you or anticipating when they're going to take off. You're waiting till that green is displayed on your screen, and it can catch some drivers by surprise. And that's just that reaction time that led to that.
Bruce Pearson shuffles up to the high side. Brian Neff gets around him. Bruce able to shut the door there on Gavin Adams. But, man, I thought he was going to drive it in there. That 30 machine, he's got some pace. We've seen Gavin towards the front of some of these races, but been in some unfortunate wrecks here. So, I mean, he'd love a good podium here. I mean, I don't want to stump him short. He'd obviously love more than that, but it all starts with doing stuff like that, JR. Racing smart here. It's real early.
Yeah, super early. So there needs to be a lot of give and take right here. I saw some of it earlier on before the caution came out. Some drivers realizing who was behind them, who was being aggressive, and moving over for them. And that's the old Mark Martin style of racing. You don't win the race early in that race. You go figure out what your car needs, what it's doing, how to adjust and move around on the racetrack, and you go win the race at the end. So racing hard early is not going to get you anything. But we see on our screen right now, Brian Bianchi, he is pushing hard, and like we talked about before the green, he has to. He's got to go past all of these drivers, and you can see where he's at on track right now. He's having a hard time getting by the 11th place car, so this is going to be a harder task than I even thought it would be for him.
No, and really, JR, the saddest thing about it is if he gets a guy when the caution flag flies, he's got to go back behind all the lead lap cars again, because it's not like the old days where they'd put the lap cars on the inside, when they double them up. So he may have to pass some of these guys 2-3 times if he can't get up there and do it quick, as we go on board with Chris Davis trying to take a peek under Gavin Adams. Couldn't do it. And the luck of the Irish propelling that 30 machine for the moment. But I don't know how long. Chris Davis, he is coming, JR. He wants it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the two different driving styles here. So Chris is one of those drivers. He's going to enter low. He's going to enter as low as he can, hug that yellow line all the way through the corner. Now, Gavin, before Chris got there, we see Gavin moving around a little bit, but Gavin was actually entering a half to 3/4 of a lane higher into the corner and then trying to come off straight down the straightaway. That gives you more forward drive. You're able to get back into that throttle harder without having that tire spin. So he's focusing on corner exit, but if you do that when a driver is right behind you like Chris, they're going to fill that gap, because that's where they're going to go. And if you take a later entry, you're going to be slower getting into that corner than the car behind you, and that's when a lot of contact gets made. We see Gavin right now. He is struggling a little bit keeping on the bottom. He does bobble once in a while.
Yeah, and if you're struggling now, only on lap 48 with a couple cautions under the belt here, it could be a long race here as the fuel load burns off and those rear ends get a little bit lighter. Right now, Alan Wanamaker doing a good job here holding on to third, but there's a battle heating up behind him there, those two. Tom Ogle and Brian Neff. Brian, he's going to get the run here. Oh, he's got to check up JR. The can wasn't opened enough there. He thought he was going to get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the contact with those two earlier, no matter what led to it, Neff's not going to be happy about it. Neff's always going to remember that. And Neff's aggressive anyway. It's just the way that he races. And he will make contact with you, not trying to wreck you, but he will make contact with you. And if you don't give way, that contact will continue to happen. And sometimes it happens when your car is out of shape. And again, Neff's not trying to do it on purpose, but it can lead to a wreck.
No, and not that I'm encouraging it, JR, but, I am encouraging it because I know some leagues do put that down and, obviously you don't want to go out there, retaliate, wreck a guy, but sometimes, you got to let a guy know, you're here to race, you're not here to be pushed around. And I think that's a big aspect of racing. And, why you can't push everybody around out there. Some guys are going to stand up for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody has a code of ethics or a code of racing when it comes down to it. Every driver's a little bit different. I've always been a driver where I'll let one or two things slide. But if I think something's a recurring issue with the same driver, then I start racing that driver a lot more aggressive. Now, never trying to wreck somebody, but I race them super hard. And that tends to be what you see from drivers. And now there's another caution out. Huge wreck on the outside of turn 2 there.
Yep, another parking lot. Bianchi said, I am not stopping this time. He drove underneath that. He said, you ain't getting me twice there with that pace car.
Yeah, and good point, Shaq, because the thing is, he's still going to be a lap down, but with this, he could advance positions with those cars that were caught up in this wreck. As we get a replay here, we see Jeff Lemire, Scott Negus underneath him trying to get a run. See Negus still pretty close to that yellow line on the inside. And I don't know if that was initial netcode contact or if Jeff actually got loose driving it in a little bit harder on that outside. A little bit hard to see there. They were extremely close to one another, but I don't know that actual contact was made.
Well, and here we got some lead lap guys coming down pit road, not to get off that subject, but here, this could possibly help Bianchi move around here. Let me find him. No, because it's not going to help him get around because Bianchi's on pit road as well. So it's not going to take advantage of that. But
I guess it kind of goes back to what you mentioned earlier. If you're stuck behind the pace car, you're still going to fall to the back. So I guess he realizes he's not going to get his lap back unless he races for it. So he's coming in to get tires to try to race for it now that he's moved up a little bit.
I have to call him. So Rory Collins, your new leader, Brian Neff, E2. See, Isaac's back to 4th. Yeah, so I guess you're right there, JR, with that point. Bianchi, even if he would have stayed out there, the 3 guys would have trapped him. So there's really no point.
It would have done nothing for him, and he'd have been on the same set of tires. So this actually gave him an opportunity. I didn't watch his pit stop in detail, but I think he got 4 tires on this one. So this gets him a good opportunity to go up and try to race. At the same time, he's been passing people that were involved in that wreck that are now a lap down. So he is slowly moving up. Ultimately, I think he had hoped that thing would have went green the rest of the way, because that would have forced some of the drivers to make some green flag pit stops, and in return he could have easily made a lap up while they were pitting under green. But now he's definitely going to have to race for it. I think all of these drivers, except for those top 3, can make it the rest of the way on fuel.
Let's see here. So I guess Brian doesn't have to get shoveled to the back here. Somehow he's lining up P3 as we're back underway. Rory Collins leading the way. If you're Brian Bianchi, though, I don't know what this gift is. I'm not going to question it if I'm him. I am going to pedal to the metal and go.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to go, and Neff's going to be his biggest competition. We see Neff making a pass for the lead on Rory Collins. Collins, I don't think, had raced a whole lot around Neff in this race, but we've already got another caution out. That's not gonna help Bianchi. That's not what he needed, as he was trying to make some passes there.
Yeah, and Randy Schuler, I think he's on pit road now. At the moment, maybe towed this thing. He gets up in the marbles here, JR. You'll see it. Pretty hard shot then on the right front. I just don't know if it just tightened up on him, if he got into it too early, what the deal was here.
Yeah, so I think ultimately he saw the cars coming behind that were trying to, dive to his inside. So he moved up to give them room. The problem is, you see, like you talked about, the marbles that have already formed on the top of this racetrack now right there. So if you get up in those marbles, this car is not going to turn. It's going to immediately go into the wall, and that's what you see right here. And once he got into that wall, you can't get off of it. Unfortunately for him, the wall didn't continue all the way around turn 2. There's an opening there, and that led to extreme right front suspension damage. So he has disconnected. He's out of this race. But that's something these drivers need to be conscious of. If you're letting another driver go, you cannot go up into that third groove. The car will not turn.
Anxious to see here if he gets away with getting to stay there again. I really hope he does, to be honest with you. I hope it's something maybe I misunderstood and the lap cars can keep their spot in line, because that's really the only way to fight your way back to get on the lead lap, especially at a short track.
Yeah, kind of reading through the rules. So, it's long periods of times when, we do the YesterYear Racing League. So kind of refreshing ourselves more than anything. So restarts, they are single file every time, but cars maintain their order in line. So if you're a lap down, you're going to restart exactly where you were running before that caution came out. So that does appear to be the stance here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure, Shaggy, how Bianchi got a lap down, from that initial caution. So something weird going on with iRacing there that put him that initial lap down. But we're going green. He's going to have to fight here.
And fight he will, as we're back underway at the South Boston Speedway, lap 68. Look at him give a shot to Brian Neff. He said, I'm going for it. I ain't wasted any time. Gives him a bump coming off of 2, and Brian Neff, he better just pull the reins back on the horses here and let him go. And he does. Bianchi, man, he's got something to prove.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what he needed to do. And the deal is, we know Neff can be aggressive, but Bianchi's letting him know, I'm a lap down. I've got nothing to lose. You're the one leading the race. So let me by, or I'm gonna find a way by. And that's what happened. So I think Neff is smart enough to realize he had a lot more to lose there. So ultimately let him pass. He stays in the lead. He cut off Todd Liston there, so Liston was not able to make that move on the inside of Neff.
Yeah, and, that's the attitude you have to have, especially, I'm a dirt guy, and if the guy's going to put me a lap down on dirt, you don't get to maintain that spot. You go to the back. So a lap down is a huge curse. You got to make that leader work. You know, you're not going to necessarily block him, wreck him, nothing like that. But boy, oh boy, make him work for it. That's what Bianchi did, man. Gave him that shot. He's got himself in prime position for a caution flag, but we all know what that means, JR. When you want one, you normally don't get one.
That's very, very true. So odds are we're going to go green for a little bit here, but Bianchi's done what he needs to do. He's on that lead lap. That was goal number one once he went a lap down. And the thing is, we need to mark that down, because if that restart on lap 70, if Bianchi goes to victory lane tonight, that right there is what won him the race. Coming through the field, that's going to be something else, but that right there won him the race. You cannot win if you're a lap down in this series.
No, and, you know, so much has happened, JR, but we're just about to go on lap 76 here. And that'll put us a quarter of the way through. So he has been a lap down, unlapped himself, and could possibly drive himself back into contention. I mean, so much has happened, and we have so much left to go. I mean, this is crazy. And now Brian Neff, he's reeling him back in. I think he knows what it could possibly mean to keep the 14 a lap down.
Oh, and the caution's out. Caution's out.
The caution flag flies.
Oh, yeah,
Scott
hearing that is Negus.
Yeah, and I see a slow Torrance Childs. He got caught up in the back of it. But Negus, yeah, gets into, I want to say, Lemire again. We've seen that once before here, JR.
Yeah, absolutely. Negus had a run, and so this is the deal. There is a little bit of net code. So Scott Negus got to the inside just barely before turn one entry. And here's where the debate will come down. So some drivers run the iRacing default spotter, and then some drivers kind of adjust when that spotter calls a car inside. I feel like Negus was far enough to the inside for the spotter to, you know, let Jeff know that. But that doesn't mean that Jeff's running that standard package, and Jeff was already turning in. There was ultimately some net code that initiated that, but there was going to be contact no matter what. And yeah, the contact that happened after that was what you talked about earlier, Shaggy. Just, you cannot see out of these cars. So when something starts to happen right in front of you, you cannot see in time to slow down.
Brian Bianchi back on the lead lap here. He's coming down pit road. Let's see. I think right side tires, maybe left sides this time, JR, because nope, just right sides.
He's getting right sides.
Those original lefts on.
Yeah, he's just got to be careful. It takes a long time to change tires in this series, an even longer time to fuel it. But yeah, he was able to get that done before the leader pace car came back around. But that's the important thing. Do not go a lap down while you're pitting. You definitely don't need that to happen to you.
No, and you know, we made jokes here as the lights are off. We get ready to go back race before about, you know, could possibly an underdog bring this or win this thing at a racetrack like this, and look at it. Todd Liston sitting there P2 as we get back and ready to go. He's had a good points year so far, sitting there third, but hasn't won a race. Let's see what he can do here as we're back underway. He gets a good run here, JR.
Yeah, he gets a run. He didn't feel like he was far enough alongside, so wisely he backed out not to create a mess, but he's running hard. He's letting Neff know, I'm not going to ride here. I'm going to try to force you into a mistake. And Todd led a lot of one of the races earlier in the season here, so he knows how to get the job done around this place, and if he gets that clean air, he could be dangerous.
Yeah, now, you know, I don't want to speak out of both sides of my mouth here. Obviously, it is normally important to get to the front here and set the pace, but with how we've seen drivers willing to use that front bumper here tonight, JR, is it worth using up your stuff right now to get to the front to possibly only be caught later? And when you're caught later, maybe you don't have that grip you have now. It may not be as easy to save that thing as see a couple cars coming down pit road. Not too sure what happened there, but green flag pit stop.
Yeah, Scott Negus was actually one of those drivers on pit road. He was a driver that has been fast here in the past, was fast once again. So this is going to put him out of contention in this race. He is now 8 laps down at this point. So another driver that's out. Brian Bianchi.
Oh, the 93. I thought that was going to be bad, JR. Sorry, getting off pit road. You can see the leaders going by now. Oh man, he yanked it down just in time as the leaders went by, but my heart attack's over, JR. Please continue.
No, that's absolutely something that happens at South Boston, and it takes both parties involved to make that work. So yeah, if the 93 Chris Hazelip, if he wasn't able to pull down, as well as those drivers that were coming around at speed being able to get up around him, there could have been major contact, and then that would have been one of those wrecks that we talked about that kind of clogs the whole straightaway. And with the way the cautions work here, you don't even have to be involved in that wreck, and you could potentially get moved back positions because you came to a stop letting those drivers turn around, or you could even go a lap down like we saw happen to Brian early on in this race. So this is a wild racetrack on iRacing. A lot can happen, and a lot of times it's stuff you don't even expect.
With the tire fall off not being super severe in these, JR, it being more about temp. Is Bianchi maybe going in, as we look at him, perfect timing, Ryan? Is he maybe going into take care mode, try to bring this thing home the rest of the way? Because with my calculations, they're pitting in the 80s. He can go the rest of the way on fuel, and I mean, that might be the play.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's going to try to rush through this field. The other thing is he's already had one time where he got into an accident while trying to come through the field. So he's going to play it smart. He's going to let guys kind of get single filed out. He's going to take care of his stuff, and then he's going to methodically work his way through like we're seeing him do right now. He's gotten by Gavin Adams. He's now going to try to go after Bruce Pearson because there is a gap ahead of Bruce. So you're going to see Brian immediately go on the attack here and try to get by Bruce Pearson. Then he's going to go back to just running his line, taking care of his stuff, and slowly reel that pack in that's ahead of him.
No, not that this is bad, but yep, Bruce goes high. Knew it. He's one of those guys guilty as charged of being Mr. Nice Guy here. For this first 2/3 of the race, he wants to be there at the end. And JR, some of us get killed for it, but I am like Bruce. I will let you go by. Just get me to lap 200 here tonight, and then I'll start racing you.
Yeah, and that's why, we don't talk about Bruce a whole lot throughout the broadcast, but that right there is why he tends to be a driver that shows up at the end of the race contending with the top 5 in the race, because he takes care of his stuff throughout. He does not get into any kind of, bad situations, making contact with his car. He lets people go when they're trying to race hard, and then after all, everything is settled, that's when he goes up there at the end of the race and fights for position. So he's very smart. He knows how to take care of it in these long races.
Yeah, and it's one of those guys, Todd Liston right now running second. He's used to it. But these other guys, they're used to Bruce just playing nice. And then when they see him that bottom third of the race, they're like, where'd this guy come from? All of a sudden, he's shooting the gaps, making it 3 wide if he needs to. And that's the best thing about Bruce, man. He'll get himself to the end, ready to race here. But right now, we're starting to get a little stockpile here behind. That's a lap car in front of Jerry Isaacs, I believe. Is that Eric Essery? Yes, it is. So kind of stacking up here. And if you're Jerry, you're not in a hurry. But man, I wouldn't want to be at the front of you got 4 cars behind him, all for position. That's not a good place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. 3rd through 7th. That's what you're seeing on your screen behind that lap car, the 37. So right now, I don't think Isaacs is going to push too hard until he feels like he's being held up in lap time. I don't think he feels like he's being held up just yet. He's going to go let Neff and Liston kind of run each other hard and let that kind of settle out where it settles. And right now, as I say that, you see Tom Ogle in the 13, he's starting to push a little bit harder. So Isaacs might start to get a little antsy, but ultimately he was fine just riding here in this position because there wasn't a whole lot going on. Everybody in this pack appears to be settled in right now.
Yeah, and they may want to get unsettled because click back to that 14. It's going to stay on the same camera. Brian Bianchi, here he comes. He's right there, JR. I mean, he is mowed into it. He is ready to go here tonight. I mean, if the betting window's still open, you better somebody go down there and put $20 on him for me. I'll pay you back because, I mean, this guy, he's on a roll right now.
Yeah, he's been flying through the field. He's had some help like this situation here where they're being held up a little, not a ton. They're being held up just a little bit right now. Everybody's nose to tail and everybody's being nice to each other. So in return, that's allowing Bianchi to just run some consistent lap times and catch these drivers. Now, it's going to be a different story once he gets there, because this is a momentum racetrack. I don't care what car you have, whether it's the SKs, the Tour Modifieds, or a super late model. This is a momentum style racetrack. So if he doesn't make that move as soon as he gets there, that's when it becomes more difficult to make the move, because you've lost your momentum. You've got to find a way to get it back.
I think the driver right now, correct me if I'm wrong, JR, you may have your own opinion, but I think the driver right now with the most pressure on him is probably that 87 of Todd Liston. I mean, big gap back to the lap car, behind, and he can pretty much play here with Neff. He can force him to drive hard, or, he can just save his stuff. I mean, but at the same time, you need to save your stuff, I think, and push that guy a little hard. I know it's tough to do, but there's a lot of responsibility right now on that 87. I mean, he's kind of in control of the pace of this race.
Absolutely. It's a great feeling to be in when you're Todd Liston right here in any race, because like you said, there's no pressure from behind. That means Todd can run whatever line he wants to. He does not have to worry about a car trying to make a move on him while he's trying to pass Neff. In return, he doesn't have to push hard. He can just stay with Neff. All he has to do is get Neff looking once in a while. Make Neff think about what he's doing. Neff start to drive a little bit harder, or maybe even potentially use a different line, and then Liston capitalize on that. So it's a fun place to be in. You can really mess with that driver in front of you, and you can do it while saving your stuff compared to what they're doing.
And Neff looked like got the left side tires on the paint there coming out of 4, got a little loose, and it allowed Liston to get closer there through 1 and 2, but I think he's just going to back off there, enter high. And yeah, it kind of shows me, JR, he is in that mode where I'm just going to nurse this thing. I'm okay with it, because really, as we look at Essery, 1 car behind, even the lap car now, the second group starting to reel in the leaders here. So front 2 slowing down on pace a little bit.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And what you see right here is Jerry Isaacs, but behind the 37 of Eric, they have actually pulled away from the rest of the drivers that were nose to tail a minute ago. So Jerry's feeling really good, because he's not even going to try to attempt to pass this 37 car. He's going to continue to follow it. And in the meantime, he doesn't have any pressure from behind. So this has actually worked out well for him. And this could be a sign to us of drivers that are starting to struggle on tires. When you start to see those gaps open up, it's more than likely drivers that have used up that right front a little bit, or right rear, because these Tour Modifieds, they will wear both. Depending on how you drive the center of the corner, you can really overheat that right front. Depending on how you get that car straightened back out coming onto the straightaway and apply that throttle, you can kill the right rear. Both of those will cost you a ton in lap time.
Yeah, and I think if you're Jerry Isaacs, you're on the horn there. You're trying to get your guys to egg on Eric. You're saying, hey, do you want to get back on the lead lap or not? Go drive through those guys, and, he'll just follow them through. Because really, I mean, this is the time, like you said, we're seeing even a gap develop between Liston and Neff up front. I mean, the tires are falling off. So if you're Essery, you've got to go get yourself back on the lead lap. I mean, I don't want to jinx us, but JR, we are short track racing, so you never know when that next caution's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. You have no idea. So these drivers absolutely have to play that strategy game. Eric here in the 37, he knows, like we talked about with Brian early in the race, he's got to go get on that lead lap. He has to find a way to do it. The best way is to try to go up there and race and get back on the lead. He appears to have the speed to do it. And in return, some of those drivers that are following him can really capitalize on that and gain position and possibly get that lead.
And talking about speed, I think Alan Wanamaker right now is one of the guys with a little bit of speed, but he's struggling to find a way to get around Ken Allen. He's really catching him here in the center of the corner. You can see Ken can't get back on the accelerator like Allen can, but he's doing a good job of just running that center line. You see JR, he's about half a groove up off the bottom, and it's allowing him to get enough rotation to keep that 9 behind him, even though the speed necessarily isn't there.
Yeah, this is a track that rewards drivers who really focus on corner exit. If you focus and get that run off the corner, then that keeps that driver, prevents that driver behind you from being able to get a run down the straightaway or make a run on corner entry. So that's what Ken Allen's doing. He's focusing on corner exit. He knows that. And this is where it really pays dividends to not have a driver that's right behind you. That's one of Allen's issues right now, is that he's got Chris Davis right behind him. So he can't really move around, try some unique lines. This track does reward drivers that look for different lines. So it's very similar to a dirt track in that fashion. And this is one of the places where, we talk about drivers kind of touching the apron. The apron can help you if this car is getting tight through the center. You have to be unique with that racing line like I talked about. You can't stay on that apron throughout the whole time. You certainly don't want to be on that apron as you start to throttle back up on corner exit. But if you can hit that apron at the right spot through the center of the corner, you can help this car rotate and get you that run coming off of the corner and down the next straightaway.
Well, JR, 10 cars on the lead lap here, but I'm not sure how much longer. Is Gavin Adams. He has got a mirror full of your leader, Brian Neff here, as he looks to put another one a lap down. You got to think, Brian, I mean, he'll be patient here, but, he doesn't want to be slowed down too much. So let's see how feisty this Winn-Dixie machine gets. You can see, JR, that front bumper already bent up.
It absolutely is, but and you can see how hard he's pushing. So I hate to say it, even with Brian behind me, if I'm Gavin Adams, I'm going to race hard. I'm going to make him hit me and try to move me out of the way, because it's almost a death sentence in this series if you go a lap down, and we're getting closer and closer to the halfway mark. If you're a lap down around halfway or after, your night's probably going to be done. You're going to have a lot of things go your way, and it's just not likely that you're going to be able to get back on it. But as you see on board, Neff continues to try to take shots on corner entry. He's doing everything he can to make this pass. For Neff, he feels like if he can make this pass, he then has 2 lap cars in between himself and second place, and that's an extremely comfortable place to be. So he wants to get this pass made.
And yeah, Gavin Adams, you made the perfect analogy. What do you want to do? Sit in jail for the rest of your life, or go out there and just get the chair, get it over with? And I think that's his attitude, man. He don't want to sit there and lap down the rest of the night. He's going to put up a fight. He's like, if there's going to be a caution, it's going to be me here defending. And Gavin is making him work, dude.
Absolutely. And, ultimately, the faster car can find a way around. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. The faster car can find a way around, and the outside line will work here when cars are side by side. So it's up to Neff to try to find that. Right now, that Gavin kind of had a moment we saw earlier in the race where he kind of bobbled in the middle of the corner, went up the track. If he does that too much, Neff will jump underneath him, and Gavin better not shut the door, because there will be contact made at that point.
Yes, there will, because Brian is playing pretty nice, maybe a little nicer than I would have played so far. So if he gets even the sliver of hope on the bottom there, he is going to send that thing in. Gavin has to hit his marks, and he's doing just that. And, man, he's really making this thing interesting. I love JR. I mean, I touched on it earlier. Guys, man, when they fight for that last, or that to stay on the lead lap, it's something that, as race fans, you got to appreciate, because that could be huge. I mean, he could find himself in the top 5 later if he gets a caution flag.
Absolutely. And you see there, Neff was finally able to get a run, and Gavin was smart. He didn't race him hard at that point. Once that leader's on your inside, it's best to just let them go, because they can put you in a very vulnerable position. So Gavin being smart there, Neff's now in front of him.
And Gavin Adams got a little loose there in the center of the corner. And let's see here. Is he going to pull it down pit road? He may just call it a night here, or he's going to come down and get tires here as the green flag continues. He just went a lap down as your leader goes by.
Yeah, he's definitely probably feeling a little bit dejected there. But, this is one of those races, whether you like it or not. If you're somebody that's battling for points, or you're trying to get yourself into a better points position, say from the top 10 into the top 5, every point will count throughout this season. We're in the second half of this season, so you've got to go and get those points, even if it sucks. If your lap's down, you got to stay out there racing to collect every point possible. There could be a lot of action toward the end of this race. You can still move up positions.
Well, everybody saw that overhead view. You just saw how probably 70% of car accidents at red lights happened there. Chris Davis got in the back of Wanamaker. Wanamaker then got into Allen. I don't know how they all survived through 3 and 4. That was a wild ride, but man, Alan Wanamaker, he got sandwiched in the middle. That's no fun, JR, when, man, you're in the middle of that bumper to bumper, especially coming out of the corner.
Yeah, we're hearing Gavin Adams is back out on the, he's actually low on the track. I think he's just letting people go by. But yeah, it's no fun being that car in the middle when you're getting action from the, you're getting hit in the front, you're getting hit in the rear. In real life, that's extremely violent. Your head bounces around like crazy and you're really not sure where you're at after that. Luckily, this is sim racing, so it's a little bit easier on you.
Yeah, Gavin pulled back into pit road here. I'm not too sure, and now I just saw the car disappear. He disconnected. He's done for the night, so no more Gavin Adams, and that leaves us with 9 cars on the lead lap, the last one being the double deuce of Bruce Pearson, and that thing's still clean as a whistle, JR, and he is not, per se, real far off the pace. I mean, he's got over a full straightaway on the leader. I think this is just a case of he's waiting for that last caution. He's got his hot rod.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we talked about it. Bruce knows how to take care of his stuff. He is currently lapping very similar to the leader, so he's a little bit slower, but not a lot. And I think if we stay green for a little bit longer, he's going to be able to hold that leader off. Ultimately, though, he wants to have a caution in these next 50 laps just to get things closed back up. If that happens, that 22 could be a contender here.
And that last lap, I was watching Liston there as we go watch him now. He got a little loose coming off of 4, and Ken Allen made the move through 1 and 2, but Liston didn't back off JR. He got the run done on the high side, and the reason I'm bringing this up is, did that open up some eyes maybe behind him? Are they saying, hey, now we're to the point on this set of tires. If I can get to the outside center off, maybe that's the preferred line now.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I spoke about it a little bit earlier. If you get side by side here, the outside lane is a place you can make work because the driver that is on the inside is going to have a couple of things happen to them. One, they're going to continue to get loose on throttle, especially if they've wore out that right rear and got that temperature too hot. The other thing is we see Ken Adams look to the inside of Todd Liston here. The other thing is that driver, as they get loose and they try to lift off the throttle, that car will push up the track on corner exit. So, again, they have to lift even further, and that just allows that driver on the outside to carry the momentum. But right now, Todd Liston, he's running extremely high.
Pit. The leader's coming down pit road, not too sure why. He hasn't pit yet, and we are on lap 160. I thought we could go a little longer than this, but maybe not, JR.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Definitely, I would have thought, like you said, somewhere around lap 220.
No caution, but Todd Liston and Brian Bianchi, they got together through 3 and 4. We're down on the inside there, JR, where no caution would come out. I think the cars are clean, but Liston way off the pace here. I'm going to rewind and see if I can see what happened.
Yeah, they lost about 3 seconds on that gap up ahead of them, which is not crazy. I mean, that was a good recovery ultimately, whatever contact.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So Liston gets a little loose in 1 and 2. He lets a couple guys go by, and Brian Bianchi all by himself gets loose on the entry to 3, and Todd Liston just T-bones him. There's nowhere for him to go. Like you said, JR, wasn't major contact, but man, that is, you're definitely going to lose time.
You're definitely losing time. We see on the screen right now, Lloyd Moore. Yep, that's Lloyd Moore. He's already a lap down. He's coming to pit road. This is actually going to put him 2 laps down as he's trying to rejoin. But, yeah, several drivers are starting to pit. And to your point earlier, I thought we could have definitely went to around lap 220 before drivers would have had to pit. But those drivers that have stayed out, they're having to come down pit road, as we see on screen, 3rd place changing up.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell what happened there. Torrance Childs, he gets a little loose coming off 1 and 2. He took the trip down the backstretch pit road and then re-entered coming out of 4. So did the right thing, stayed out of the way. But that's a tough break for Torrance. That's a long way at pit road speed, JR.
Yeah, absolutely. If you choose to do that, you got to make sure that you don't speed. Otherwise, you're just going to hurt yourself even further. So Definitely, that's a long way to go. It's going to cost you tons of time. Definitely going to lose laps, but at the end of the day, you kind of got to ask yourself, where do you think you're going to finish? And you just need to find a way to finish there, complete this race, do the most laps that you can do.
Like I say, I assumed around that 2:30 mark with my testing. Now, maybe they limited the fuel. I'm not too sure here, JR, but I would assume Brian, wouldn't have wanted to short pit by any means, because now he's a lap down, and that's going to doom you. But I mean, was I off? Do you think we're at the 2:30 mark? Like, I mean, I would think with a couple cautions, Isaac and those guys, they could probably go the rest of the way.
Yeah, I would think for sure that those drivers that pitted under that one caution, around the lap 50 mark, can make it the rest of the way for sure. They pitted around lap 57. It just scares me with him
coming in at 160. You know what I mean? Even with cautions, I just don't understand that. I mean, it's either, and I don't mean to, I'm not the one in the car, so everybody's got an opinion, but bad strategy on my part if there was still fuel left in that, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to tell, so it'll be interesting. So, I mean, we'll see it play out in the next 50 laps or so. We'll see what happens with these drivers that pitted around that lap 57 mark, because if they cannot make it, then based on Neff, they're going to have to pit around lap 210 to 220. Somewhere around there, they're going to have to pit. So we'll see what happens here. If that was Neff just doing a strategy move, or if that was, as far as he could go on fuel. And I got to think, he was trying to open up that lead. He had over a 3-second lead when he pitted. I got to think he was pushing hard because he knew that it was coming pit stop time. So, it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, up lap 178 here. We're approaching the 2/3 mark, and this is the closest battle for position, JR. You got Tom Ogle trying to run down Jerry Isaacs, and believe it or not, it's for the lead. I mean, if you're going to have one battle on the track, make it be for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see, because we've been running for a long time. This is a long run that these drivers have had, and this gives us a clear indication of who is able to take care of the tires, which is going to tell us a couple of things. I know we may not get a huge run. If we get another caution, we may, cautions bleed cautions. We may get multiple cautions at that point. But this tells us who's taking care of the tires, who knows how to move around and find the speed, but also lets us know who has a little bit of reserve in the tank if we get a short run, because those drivers taking care of the tires, they can take off.
Alan Wanamaker in the inside, but he was in the dead zone where there's no caution flag, and he was sitting in third place, JR. Now back to 7th. Chris Davis in that final podium spot. Tough break there for the 9-ball. He's going to need a caution now if he wants back in this thing.
Yeah, this gives us some insight on how the car is handling. So he entered in the middle groove there on corner entry, maybe carried just a little bit too much speed, but the rear end came around on him, letting us know that these cars are loose on corner entry. So these drivers, they're going to have to recognize that. And as we get further into this run, this car is going to handle worse and worse. So they got to make driving adjustments inside that car, because the only adjustment you can make on the car itself is brake bias. You can move brake bias forward to help with that, but only so much.
You gotta love the awareness of some of these drivers. I wanted to click over to Brian Bianchi, so I did 2 laps ago, and he noticed that 60 machine of Brian Neff was coming up awfully quick. And if you remember the earlier contact to unlap himself, he got the heck out of the way, and Brian Neff is already up the road. I mean, it shows what a new set of tires will do. I mean, it's not a huge gap, but I mean, realistically, JR, he did that 3 to 4 laps. I just don't know, once we see the tire fall off, if it will be enough here to get himself back into contention if we don't get a caution.
Yeah, absolutely. Neff 1 lap down, so he is driving his butt off right now to get back on the lead lap. He knows that he absolutely has to, if a caution comes out, to have a chance to race for the win. So he's running as hard as he can. And right now, looking at the lap times, he's running anywhere to 3 to 4 tenths of a second faster than the leader. Now, there will be a fall-off point like you spoke about, but this is the advantage I talked about in the opening of the race of doing an undercut or pitting off sequence from other drivers. If you pit while drivers have old tires, you're going to be flying, making up a ton of ground. This will pay dividends for Neff if this thing stays green. But if it doesn't stay green, it can be very costly.
Ken Allen lives to race another day. He got out of the way there. He saw those new tires coming. And, man, that makes it a lot easier for Brian Neff, too. Not going to lose the shine. And maybe that helps a little bit. We've hinted at it. I mean, Brian, obviously, great driver, but he is aggressive. And when you got those new tires, you got that reputation. I mean, it's helping him. They are just getting out of the way. I mean, he looks like Moses out there.
It's definitely helping him. And the thing is these drivers know there is no point. For one, Neff is a lap down right now. Two, he's got fresh tires and is flying. There's no point in racing. Right now, these drivers are not really being aware of that are right in front of him of what's happening. I'm not sure if they think they're racing him or what.
Eric is for position. Now okay. Eric gets out of the way, but that was for, I guess, no lucky dog, but, would be the first car a lap down. So, I mean, he made quick work of Eric. Now he's got to get by Mr. Excitement here.
Absolutely. So that made sense with Eric racing him, but now Chris is going to have to be aware of what's going on here. There is no reason to race Neff. None at all. You're only going to get yourself in a bad position. So we'll see what happens, and we're hearing that Alan Wanamaker has now come to pit road to do one of his stops.
Yeah, wondering if that, if he needed to here with fuel, or after the spin, maybe the tire's just too far gone. As we continue to watch Brian Neff go to work on Davis here. Davis gets a little bit loose trying to play defense, and Neff, he gets into him. He plays nice, but I'm telling you, JR, we both know that is the one and only time he's going to play nice here.
Yeah, I mean, Neff backed off because he doesn't want to spin Chris at this point, but he's letting him know with that contact, hey, I'm on a different strategy than you. There's no reason to be racing me. Let me by. I got to go.
Yep, and he goes right on by. I think Davis got the memo here. Little late. Jerry Isaacs coming down pit road, so I'm guessing my fuel calculations, I must have been way off. These guys had to pit one more time, so maybe I would think Tom Ogle, then he's going to need to come down. Oh, man, the only one who may be close here, I don't know, Brian Bianchi, last pit lap 80 or 79 actually. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so Ogle's got to come down for sure. I mean, he pitted on lap 57. That's around when Isaacs pitted last. So some of this is strategy that we're seeing now. I do expect Ogle to start to come to pit road probably in the next 10 to 15 laps. That's probably when he's going to have to come to pit road. I think he's one of those drivers that's going to hang it out to the last possible second. But some of these drivers realize how fast Tom is, and I think they're doing the undercut because if you do the undercut on him, he's going to have to fight hard to get back to you when he does make his pit stop. So some of this is just strategy.
Ooh, there Tom Ogle works to the inside. There was a little contact. Scott Negus going to use it to his advantage. He rolls around too. Scott obviously a couple laps down here. Is Davis and Allen the closest battle on the racetrack? This is for second now, and Brian Bianchi not too far back. 2 lap cars in between. You see, that's, I believe, Jerry Isaacs and Alan Wanamaker. Now Todd Liston comes down pit road. And I'm hearing it maybe not a planned pit stop. And from what I'm seeing, that's a good call there, Ryan. Not a planned pit stop. But hey, if you're sliding towards pit road, you might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah, you've already lost the time.
Chris Davis, contact JR. I think we're going to get a caution. We do.
We are.
And we have how many cars on the lead lap here?
5.
You nailed it. You nailed it, JR.
Yeah, and we'll get a replay here. We're watching, and that was Isaacs who had just pitted that was on fresh tires. And no need to push the issue at this point because you've got the fresh tires for one, but 2, you're a lap down. You do not need that caution to come out. So that hurt Isaacs for sure. He's going to have to try to take the wave around, assuming that our leaders pit. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. We'll see how it plays out, but definitely not what Isaacs needed. The driver that plays into the hands of is the one that they were all trying to beat, Tom Ogle. He's going to come out with a lead and fresh set of tires here.
I'm going to poke the bear here. You know why it may have been the move here? Because everybody on the lead lap, JR, came down pit road, and Isaacs he stayed out. So I think with the 1 to green here, won't these guys get thrown in front of the pace truck here?
Yeah, I believe we'll see what happens. I believe that himself and Eric will get waved by with the 1 to go. We'll see how it happens. The rules are a little bit odd. It's been a long time since we've seen races in real life with these rules, so it's going to be a little while. But definitely, this field is thinned out. I think, you know, where we talk about cautions bleed cautions, this is probably going to be a situation where that doesn't happen, because we're down to 5 cars in the lead lap. There are only 4 additional cars that are 1 lap down. Those are going to be the drivers that are ultimately racing. The first car that's 2 laps down is Chris Davis, who has just left the session. So we're growing thin on the number of cars left in this race, which means the likelihood of another caution is going to be slim.
Okay, so see, this is where I'm so confused with iRacing. It says the cars hold their spot in the rule book, and it does it sometimes in the JR. Now it does this to us, where it's having Essery pull down, it's having Isaacs get to the inside. So Isaac's probably thinking, man, I might as well have come down and got tires.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of, basically, it's put them back a lap down. So if you were a lap down, even if you stay out, you're not going to get that lap back. So that's kind of how this rule works. If you were a lap down, you're not going to get your lap back under caution with any circumstance. The only way you can get that lap back is fighting under green, like we saw Bianchi do early on.
I'm going to word it a little different than Ryan, but JR, we got 2 cars on the lead lap here after guys getting trapped, maybe behind the pit car. And Tom Ogle and Ken Allen looking pretty good for those 2 right now.
Yeah, and you know, one thing we're getting ready to go green here as we're going down the backstretch. One thing we didn't touch on, I'm not sure how those other guys have got a lap down other than spending too much time on pit road. It takes it a long time to fuel these cars. Now, they didn't need a ton of fuel to make it to the end, but if you didn't check off that fuel and you put a full tank in, you could have very easily lost your lap there. It may have been watching guys like Neff and Pearson here.
Well, the puppet master takes the green flag here. We'll have to see if Tom Ogle can hold these guys behind, because, I mean, obviously, JR, Brian, he's going to be aggressive. Tom, you don't want to be too aggressive, but I'll tell you, he's just as aware as we are that there are 2 guys on the lead lap. He wants to keep it that way.
Yeah, but remember, there was contact between these 2 early on, so yeah, if you're the leader, it's probably smart to give room. It's probably smart to give room. So I wouldn't fight too hard here, because Neff's going to be on a charge. Neff's been fast this entire race. He does not want to be trapped a lap down. He's going to go get his lap back.
I think Tom may need you as a spotter here, because it looks like he's playing defense, and this could get a little wild. Here's the Winn-Dixie machine. Thinks about taking a peek there. Oh, he pulls the horses back. Tom leaves the door open. Oh! No way! Tom Ogle gets moved to the inside. Caution flag waves. Jerry Isaacs then gets involved.
Big wreck from behind.
And we are going to have some fireworks here tonight in Virginia, JR.
We do, but that gets more cars on the lead lap for us. But you see here, we talked about it. Like, for one, you know, Neff made the aggressive move to the inside. Ogle saw it, gave him room on corner entry, but it's just one of those deals. Like, once he's there, you got to let him go, because, again, Neff's going to fight hard. He's going to get his lap back, and there's no need to race him. He's been fast. It's not like Neff is slow and he's going to hold you up once he gets by. So, yeah, that could have been a big race decision there.
Yeah, and, you know, that's just one of those things. I know it's maybe I mentioned he wants to keep those guys a lap down, obviously, but when you make the hiccup, you open up the can, you know, not that he's trying to block there, but, you know, it looks like he does come down across Neff. And, you know, as much as, you know, instinct tells you, JR, well, dang it, I'm going to blame that lap car. I can't do that this time. I really can't. I mean, he's racing for survival. Yeah,
and it's natural at this track when you're on that outside to kind of want to let your car turn back down. But again, when you got to know who you're racing and what the risk is. So in this case, that lap car being to your inside, it was best just to lose a little bit of time in that one corner, let that driver go, because this track is very tricky on corner exit. It doesn't matter if one car's coming down, one car's coming up. There's probably going to be contact, especially when the stakes are high. And at that point, the stakes were high for Brian Neff. So Neff's going to push hard. He did not want contact to happen there, but he was going to get by. So it was best just to give room and live to fight another day. But
and in the programs you guys bought tonight, you might as well rip out the point standings, crumple that up, throw it in the trash, because when we go racing next week, it is going to be a lot different as Ken Allen takes the green flag. We're back underway. JR, 80 laps to go here at Sobo.
Absolutely, and Ken's pushing hard. He got into the wall a little bit on the backstretch, but you see there's Tom Ogle. He only lost one spot through that whole mess, so he's only in second place, less than a second back from our leader. This is very achievable for him to still go out there and get that win. In return, that put Bruce Pearson and Brian Neff on the lead lap, so 4 cars on the lead lap fighting here.
I can't remember the last time I've seen the leader spin out and only fall back to second place here. I mean, you talk about getting lucky there if you're Tom Ogle. I mean, obviously, you know, not what you want to happen, but you really do have to look at it, like you say there, JR, glass half full, man. He is still there, and the leader is right there out the front windshield. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's plenty of laps left, 76 laps. A lot of series only run 100 laps here in league races. So 3/4 of a normal race to go still. And Ogle has the speed. We saw how fast he was on the long run during that last bit that we had that involved the green flag pit stops. And right here, this is the opportunity. So Ken was being smart, letting a driver by that seemed to be faster, and in return, it allowed Ogle to get to his inside. So that's the vulnerability you have at this track. But Ken's smart. Ken's going to let him go by, and he's going to take care of his stuff and see if he can race him at the end.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Ken knows he's survived a lot of mayhem here tonight. Right now, even to bring home P2 might be okay. So plenty of time left. You mentioned, I mean, some events, I mean, they'll only run 75 to 100 laps. You got a whole race left here to go. You don't have to defend this early. And only 9 cars on the racetrack, I'm hearing, JR.
Yeah, only 9 cars. You know at this point there's going to have to be something weird happen to bring out another caution, and there could be as leaders approach lap cars. But talking about the big picture here for Ken Allen and falling back into second place, not fighting too hard, he came into this race 4th place in points, only 15 points out of that lead. Now he's racing Ogle for the points lead, but there's 2 drivers ahead of Ken Allen that he is fighting, and that's Todd Liston and Brian Johnson. And right now, Ken's having a much better night than those 2 drivers. So Ken can easily move up to second place in points at the end of this race.
Yeah, JR, I love it too when somebody does something, makes us look like we know what we're talking about. Bruce Pearson, 3rd place right now. I mean, he has just survived the mayhem, hanging out, bottom step of the podium, and he's got a pretty good gap here to Brian Neff right now. Almost 5 full seconds. I mean, 4.7. Got to be feeling comfortable here if you're the 22. I mean, these 100 lappers, that's what he's used to, and he's got that new set of rubber. He should be able to bring this thing home.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I talked about. I've seen it happen way too many times where Bruce, in a modified race, whether it's the SKs or the Tours, he is not anywhere to be seen early in a race. He's back there taking care of his stuff, staying away from all the mayhem, and then at the end, boom, there he is. So in 3rd spot, that's a tremendous effort. We've seen extremely fast drivers get involved in things tonight, and Bruce has been the smart one that, I mean, his car doesn't look like there's a whole lot wrong with it. It is pretty clean, and that's what it takes to run these long races that are 300 laps in length.
Now, JR, I know long way to go here, but if you're Tom Ogle, I mean, you're not passing another race car unless you have to, right? Not after what you've been through.
Every driver's different. That's the funny thing about drivers. Some things that you think make sense don't always make sense. Drivers have their own style, and every driver looks at that risk versus reward a little bit differently. So you never know. I would think that Tom's probably going to be a little bit easier moving forward and going to make sure that pass is there before he makes it. And even if a lap car comes up behind him, he's probably going to make way and give room to that as long as it doesn't cost him the lead. So yeah, it's different for every driver. We'll have to see how it plays out for Tom.
Wish we had that spotter radio, that you get when I don't know what it's called now, but you used to go to the NASCAR races. It was when Nextel was doing all that cool technology in the 2000s. I love tuning into headsets because I'd love to know what Ken Allen is saying right now. If he likes the race car, if he's just waiting, or if he just doesn't have that pace right now. Because Ken, a guy who, we're not surprised to see him up here battling for the win, but he's not as close to Tom Ogle as I'd like to be here. I mean, I know a long way to go, JR, but he's going to have to work to even get to the back of that 13.
Yeah, he's going to have to fight a little bit, and his biggest hope is that they do catch some lap traffic at some point here. And Tom has to really kind of search around or fight hard, because I believe Ken's just been running consistent lap times, not trying to overdrive the car or do anything crazy. And in return, that could open up an opportunity for Ken with his tires that have been taken care of. So I think that's what he's ultimately going to look at. I do want to mention at this point in the race, we see barely back there, there's Scott Negus that's running right behind this group. So Scott's been involved in some action tonight. He's 12 laps down, but because of the attrition in this race, everything that's happened, 12 laps down, he's running in 9th spot. At the end of the season, that can mean a lot to his points position. So this is what I tell drivers all the time. If you're in a season-long league, run every lap that you can, because you never know what a few points on a night like tonight can mean at the end of the year.
No, and it's funny you bring that up. I look over at my software. I know we mentioned 9 guys, but Todd Liston is still sitting on pit road, and what that tells me is maybe getting some repairs. And he's only 2 laps behind Bianchi, JR. So if they can repair that thing, you can see the left front beat up. I mean, he goes and gets 2 more laps, he puts himself in the top 10. I mean, that could mean that 1 point could be a big deal.
It absolutely can. And the one thing I can tell you, a lot of drivers, when it's their first time running in leagues, especially in season-long leagues, drivers will go, I'm not worried about 1 point, but it is the worst feeling in the world when you get to that last race of the year, you finish it out, and you go, oh man, I could have finished second in points if I just had the 1 more point that I lost earlier in the year. So it really bothers you. So when you're a seasoned driver that's been out here for a long time, you know how important that is. Scott's been around for a while. He knows that he needs to turn these laps and get every point possible. Otherwise, you will regret it at the end of the season. I believe me.
50 laps to go. Lap 251 underway. This is going to click off here as not a lot of cars on the lead lap, only 4 guys. And at the pace we're at, I don't want to jinx it here, but I don't think we're getting a caution flag here. And without a caution flag, I don't know if anybody can run down the 13 of Tom Ogle. I think, it's going to be a strategy move. But then even so, JR, I don't think we're going to see any strategy moves. Let's say we get a caution. If you're Ken Allen, you pit here. I know we only have, 8 or 9 cars running, but you're going to start at the back of them unless those other guys come down pit road too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out here at the end. This has been a very long race. Tom, we're riding on board with him. He's running a perfect line. He's had speed all night. The only thing that messed Tom up all night was having to deal with Brian Neff a couple of times and the fact that he started 11th place. However, he's had the speed. He had speed in practice. He was able to march through the field. He's been able to get the lead, and right now he's pulling away from Ken Allen over a second. And the top 4 drivers, they're not close to one another. They're all spaced out, so there's no real battles that are going on the track, even with those cars that are lapped down, which led to the point earlier after we went green that this is probably going to be a green flag race to the end. So these drivers, they're just trying to turn laps and finish it out at this point. If nothing crazy happens, we're probably going to finish in the order that we're running.
Yeah, and Eric Essery, the only car 1 lap down, JR, in 5th. Alan Wanamaker and Rory Collins, both 2 laps down. And Brian Johnson, I don't know, do the math there, 5 laps down possibly. So, I mean, really no battles on the racetrack. I mean, these guys just trying to keep rolling around until they hear that fat lady, and she's coming, JR, 41 laps away.
Yeah, it's coming quick. I mean, these laps, they go by they go by super quick. So we're essentially turning 4 laps every minute around this track in just under a minute, actually, 14-second laps. So they go by quick. And, you know, to your point, the only car that's 1 lap down, he's in 5th place. That is Eric YesterYear. So we saw him battling earlier when he was a lap down with the leaders. He wasn't doing anything crazy. He was just trying to run as fast as he possibly could. And this is why. I mean, he's up in the 5th spot. That's the highest he's been all night. And this is what it's all about. This is when the pay window opens. This is when you need to be getting your best running position.
And could have used one of these puppies in high school when we had to run that dang mile around the track, man. Would have cut me down by about 13 minutes. If I had one of these things to do it with. They are rolling quick. And Kenny Allen, he's just, that gap is big now. I think he is self-preservation mode. I mean, you know, you're not going to get any better than P2. So why run down close to the apron? What you're seeing, he's just running that middle line. There's no reason to force it. He's just kind of forfeited it. And at the end of the day, JR, a P2, you know, that's something to hang your hat on here. This was as you mentioned, long, tough race.
It is a long, tough race. In the opening, I spoke about it being mentally exhausting, and the reason why is this track just in general is difficult not to make mistakes, but when you add 300 laps and the close competition, the contact that happens at a place like this, it gets exponentially harder to deal with. And tonight was all about not making mistakes or making as little mistakes as possible during the race. And unfortunately for a lot of the drivers that are battling for that points lead, they had mistakes, and our points leader so far hasn't had anything major happen to him. The things that did happen to him, he was able to rebound, and he's still in the lead. So, you know, this is what season-long championships are about. You've got to eliminate those mistakes, and on a night like this, it can really hurt.
Right. Look at Ryan Snifker. It is working here because I was watching the same thing he is. Ryan Neff getting a little closer there to that 22 machine. He's 1.5 seconds back here. JR, 31 laps to go. Now, dare I say it? Now, you know, maybe they'll behave. I know it's for the final podium spot, but cautions may not be done yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's a quarter of a second a lap faster almost consistently. He does have a couple of cars he's going to have to get around before he gets there, but I don't think they're going to race him or work him over too hard as he gets there. So, yeah, Brian Neff could be there. Oh, he got loose coming off of turn 4 as we rode on board with him. Did a nice save, but obviously pushing hard, trying to catch Bruce Pearson, and that was the first lap that he actually ran slower than Bruce. So he's got to eliminate that if he wants to get up there.
Yeah, I mean, you remember those commercials before they started that dang emu thing, whatever that insurance company is, where they used to have the guy dangling the dollar, you know, off the fishing pole. And that's exactly what's happening here to Brian Neff. I mean, he's getting closer now, and you just want to jump up there and get that thing, JR, but you don't got the grip to do it, man. And you know as well as I do, the closer you get psychologically, man, the tougher it gets on you to keep hitting those marks.
Yeah, it definitely does. It becomes more and more difficult. That's that mentally taxing situation that I talked about. You don't even recognize it when it's happening. It's usually after the race is over with and you finally take a deep breath that you realize how wore out you are. And it's more times than not the mental aspect as opposed to the physical aspect. But definitely, the one thing is at the end of the race, Neff is pushing hard. The equipment's not there. The tires are wore out. So the car's not handling good. And what I found myself, even in situations, is sometimes when I start to push harder, I actually slow down. So there are times where you've got to rein yourself in and say, I can't do this. Neff, he's continuing to get loose through the corners, but you got to say, I cannot continue to do this. I'm actually costing myself time. I need to back it back down, calm myself down, and run the laps that I was running earlier.
Obviously, not something you want here, JR, but I mean, is it on the back of Brian's mind? I mean, let's say, you know, he's pushing pretty hard here coming out of 2 or 4. I mean, you loop that thing, you're not going to get any worse than 4th here. So, I mean, you know, worst comes to worst, you might as well push this thing. I mean, as long as you don't bend it in the wall. I mean, am I right? I mean, it's the risk is the reward outweighs the risk here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When you look at it, in that manner, then yeah, you can push the car as hard as you want to. If you spin out, even if you go a lap down, you're going to finish 5th because there's only one car a lap down at this point. So it's not bad. The big thing is you probably won't get a caution if you spin out. Because you're probably going to spin out in one of the corners, and we've seen multiple guys do that tonight and in past races, and that doesn't normally bring the caution out. So you're probably just going to lose track position. You're going to have to continue on with those tires anyway. So, it's that risk versus reward thing. Do you really want to finish 4th, or do you want to try to go get some more and potentially spin yourself out?
I wish iRacing showed those guys on pit road slaving away, because I'm wondering if Todd Liston's group's going to get that car done in time to get that thing out there and get those 2 laps in to get inside the top 10, because we're running out of time here, JR. Tom Ogle, he's rolling into turn 3 right now, and when he comes out, we've got 15 laps to go. This is going to go quick.
Yeah, and definitely Liston definitely wants those 2 laps because that moves him up a complete 2 different spots there. So, yeah, that's pretty big. I do like the 37 cars paint scheme a little bit. Director kind of touched on it there a few times. It does say Benford on the side of it. It's pretty unique, pretty cool. Exactly. I think everybody knows what that is. Tool time there. So that's a cool throwback.
Okay, you guys showing your age, because I did not know where that was from here.
Yeah, you got to watch Tim Allen as a kid growing up. I'm older than some people think.
Yeah, my is Bruce Pearson now. I'm hearing JR, he lost his buffer. He's still got a .92 gap, but there is no lap cars in between him and Neff anymore.
There's not, and there's a lot to be said when you have direct eye contact with that guy you're trying to chase down. And the better part about it is when you see that car ahead of you running a line that is different than what you're running. That means if you can slowly close in and get there, you have a huge opportunity of being able to make the pass, because that guy's just essentially running a different line. Now, what I'm seeing here is Neff is focusing on corner entry and keeping that car very low through the corner. Pearson is focusing on corner exit, trying to make sure that he's continuing to get a straight run off of turn 2, off of turn 4, being able to lay that throttle down without the car getting upset. And right as I say that, he actually touched the apron on the exit of turn 4, got a little bit loose, and that's allowing Neff to close in. We still got 8 laps to go here. Neff can do it.
Yeah, and we've all done it, JR. Maybe peeking up in that mirror, you see where that guy's beating you, you try something a little different and just get you off your mark. And Neff, he got a little loose there, but I do not think he lifted that Winn-Dixie machine. Here he comes, and he's going to have 6 laps to do it here, JR.
He is, and Bruce is struggling. And, we sometimes see this in races where you fall off a cliff where the tires just completely go on you. You think you've done a pretty nice job, but you get to a long run, and all of a sudden it just goes away from you. That's what Bruce is battling with. Bruce, I think, is going to try to fight, but once Neff gets to the inside or outside, I don't think Bruce is going to fight too hard, because he knows how bad his car is handling right now.
And they're not going to get to him either, I don't think, but they're mowing down Ken Allen. Ken Allen may be running out of gas here, trying to save gas. He goes to the inside, lets those guys by. Here comes the double deuce. Bruce Pearson around the outside. I think Ken Allen is trying to save fuel, JR.
Great point. That's exactly what's happening. Ken realizes we're not getting a caution. He is nursing that thing, and he's essentially probably having to run about 20 to 25% throttle around the track in order to get it to the finish. I've had to do this. It sucks, I can tell you, but this is what he's got to do to finish the race.
Oh, no, he's got to come down pit road, he says, as he pulls down. Tough break. Tom Ogle takes the white flag. Last lap, JR. And just like this race back in 1966, Tom Ogle gonna win by 8 seconds over the double deuce Bruce Pearson. What a drive for Tom Ogle. Played the strategy game. Bruce holds on to P2 there over Brian Neff. And JR, we come home with 3 cars. Your podium 3 on the lead lap.
It was a hard-fought podium. With everything that happened tonight, those three deserved it for sure.
Well, and as you can see, I mean, Ken Allen, he sure as heck wouldn't hire me for the fuel guy because they weren't going near as long as I thought. And he had pit, I believe, on lap 98 and had to come down there, couldn't make it. We're going to let Tom Ogle park it here, go get a drink, celebrate a little bit here, and we'll be right back with interviews from your top three and your full rundown. Stick around on the Virtual Grip Network. We are back live on the Virtual Grip Network where the YesterYear Tour Modifieds, boy, oh boy, they're gonna have a lot of work to do here. Good thing we got the next week off, JR, because garages gonna be busy, man. South Boston was not nice to the field here today. I mean, we got exciting racing, but man, maybe not the excitement the drivers wanted. It was exciting for the fans.
Absolutely. Ultimately, this was a race about attrition, about eliminating mistakes, about keeping it on track clean. That's what we ultimately saw with the drivers that stayed on the lead lap. Now, there was contact made for sure throughout this race, but the drivers that did not have major damage, that kept it rolling, they got rewarded with these finishes. And the big one, Bruce Pearson, we talked about it early. He started way in the back. He took his time, let people go early, comes home in second place. That's smart racing.
Yes, it is. And, let's take a look at that full final rundown here as Tom Ogle brings home that checkered flag. Just like, man, that's almost storybook there. The race we based this off, I mentioned there in the call, 8-second win, and basically does that here tonight. Good run there for Tom Ogle, the double deuce, Bruce Pearson, P2, and Brian Neff. That could be an interesting waiting room right now. Brings home the final podium spot. Eric Essery fourth. Ken Allen, after running out of fuel, still brings home a top 5, but tough break there for Ken Allen. Allen Wanamaker sixth. Rory Collins 7th. Brian Johnson 8th. Scott Negus 9th. And Brian Bianchi rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, getting back to drivers that had a really rough night. We got Jerry Isaacs. He'll come home in 11th, getting involved in that accident right after coming off pit road with fresh tires. Todd Liston, he came in here high up in points. He's going to come home in 12th place tonight. Chris Hazlett, 13th place. Chris Davis, he'll come home in 14th. Lloyd Moore, 15th. Torrance Childs will come home in 16th. Gavin Adams, 17th. Jeff Lemire, he'll come home in 18th place. Randy Schuler in 19th. And rounding out the field in 20th tonight will be Tom Hilbert.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's pull up that third place finisher, Mr. Brian Neff, and we'll see if we can get a word. Brian, Shaggy up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you.
Tell you what, man, eventful race. You saw yourself on kind of the outs there with strategy. You had to do that green flag pit stop, and you were forced to race your way back up onto the lead lap. And, you know, everybody's going to have an opinion on it, Brian, but I personally, you know, you're doing what you got to do to get back on the lead lap from my eyes. But what are your thoughts about the contact there as you get yourself back on the lead lap?
Well, I was just talking to Tom. I wasn't trying to get into him. I actually just let off when I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm assuming we barely touched.
Yeah, it's one of those, you know how these things get to, man. iRacing doesn't treat us very well with the net code on these. So, I mean, it looked like there was a little bit of room. And, I mean, you got the new tires you had experienced earlier, Brian Bianchi, you know, when you were in the lead and he got those new tires, and you saw how important getting back on the lead lap was. And, man, you were able to do that. Did you think there with the laps winding down that you were going to be able to get by Bruce? Because, man, you were reeling him in. Just looked like you ran out of time.
Yeah, I was losing my front tires there at the end. I was hoping he was going to push up, but we just ran out of time. I don't know about everybody else, but I am actually absolutely soaking wet, almost exhausted here. That was a great race.
I guarantee it. I mean, me and JR kept highlighting that 300 laps, man, around this place is absolutely no joke. And to bring home a podium, that is a hell of a run, Brian. Congratulations, man. Who you want to thank?
Just Winn-Dixie and all my buddies and you guys up there, and Alan for putting this on. I'm really enjoying myself over here. And I redid all my stuff, so I'm feeling like I'm starting to roll here.
Well, hey, Brian, hopefully you got it dialed in for the rest of the way. Congratulations on a good run, man. Can't wait to talk to you again.
All right, thanks a lot.
Brian Neff, your third place finisher. And now my partner is going to talk to the man who brought home P2, a familiar face here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Bruce, man, congratulations with that second place run. I want to go back to early in the race. We saw you early. You know it's a 300 lap race. You know this track very well. You were letting some drivers by that were wanting to push the issue early. How important was that? And we talked about it during the race. How important was that to run your own race? You ultimately come home in second place because of that.
Well, you're right. It was very, very important. There were two things. A, I knew it was a very, very long race and just take your time. But I knew the guys that wanted to get by. And some of them are pretty aggressive, and others are just plain faster than me, like Tom Ogle. I raced with him in the LBRL, and I wanted to sneak in behind him and try to learn what he does, why he's so fast. But you're right, guys. It was important to just bide your time, save your stuff, and stay out as long as you could. Couldn't believe how many guys were pitting under green flag situations, but I was able to pit late, and to Kenny's misfortune, I was able to sneak in and get a second.
Yeah, it looked like a lot to handle out there car-wise. So I want to ask you, just what were you battling? I think every driver probably encountered something a little bit different because of their driving style. What were you feeling out of that car? Because we did see drivers having to move around, run different lines, and there were times where drivers were fast and then they would be slower. So what were you having to deal with out there?
Oh, overall, it was Tom Ogle and I were just talking about it. It was a decent setup. The brake bias, though, was a little too far to the rear, and that was making us loose. And so I was loose going in, and if I was able to stay off of it and let the car roll through the corner and then get on the throttle, I was okay coming off. Only a few times I got on the throttle a little too quick and I broke loose, but I don't know, it's just to be patient and not be bothered by what everyone else was trying to do and alter your line. Just like you said, let them go. I'll stay out of their way. They let them go by, and I get back and run my stuff. And the line I wanted to run, and it just worked out for me.
Well, it definitely paid off for you tonight. I'm going to get you out of here on this one. This run's going to move you up in points tremendously. I think several spots, because a lot of the drivers that were around you had a bad night. You guys get next Tuesday off, but you come back the following week to do 250 laps at a track Langley. What are your thoughts going there? And do you anticipate that it's going to be a similar type race as what we had here tonight?
I think it will be similar, but that track has some quirks that if you know how to take advantage of, it makes it a lot easier to get around there. But it is a flat track. Guys just going to have to be patient. But I like that track. I've had a win before in another league, in the Arctic car, led green flag to checker flag, and so I know how to run it. But there's some good guys, some really fast guys here. But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. Hey, congratulations on that big run tonight, and hopefully when we come back in 2 weeks, we can talk to you some more up here.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much. I want to say thanks to VGN, what you guys do, and to all the folks that are on my race cars. Mission 22 folks that do a lot of stuff for our military veterans, and the American Pit Bull Foundation that does a lot with pit bulls to take them from shelters and make them service dogs for our veterans. That's actually a picture of my dog on all my cars, so she's a pit bull. So thanks to all of them, and again, thanks to you guys.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Great looking car, too, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Take care now.
That was Bruce Pearson, our second place finisher tonight. Shaggy, who you got now?
I got our winner here, Mr. Tom Ogle. Tom, 83 laps to go. You're sitting next to the inside wall there. You just had some contact. You fell back to second. I mean, how do you calm yourself down and get yourself back in that mentality to go back out here and win this race?
It was not easy.
Trust me, I know. That's why I asked.
I was like, you got to be kidding me again. And then it was the same guy that pulled up in front of me when we were here earlier in the year. I was like, and the frustrating part, and he apologized, and I'm over it, obviously, but I moved up to let him go. I had no reason to race him. They're like 2 cars on the lead lap, and he would have been the third, but I was fine with that. You know what I mean? I'm racing for points. I mean, it's always good to win, but like if something happened, let's say he passes me, we get a caution, he pits and I don't, and he wins, I still, most likely finish third. So like, I fought him a little bit, but I just wanted to get separated and get rolling, and he was wanting to run a lot harder than me, obviously, because he wanted to be on the lead lap. So I just moved up to let him go, but he pushed up a little bit and got me. It happens. Just, hope it doesn't happen when you're the leader.
Tom, a real quick question here before I go into my actual question. I was way off, I guess, with the fuel mileage. How long could you go tonight? I had originally thought you could go around 230 laps or so.
You could go about 201 or 202, right in there, depending how hard you were going. You could do 200.
So that being said, I mean, dude, how shocked are you seeing guys pull down and make green flag?
I couldn't believe it. So me and Jerry and Eric Essery were in the same driver channel, and Jerry's like, I think I'm going to pit. I'm like, Jerry, we've got 80 laps of fuel left. I'm going to run it out and then just stop and top off. I mean, I don't know. I just couldn't imagine going that long. And I leveled off to about 0.5s on the lap time. So I was like, or I could run 0.4s, 0.5s. I just wasn't going to pit under green there, I was shocked, honestly.
Well, Tom, it's been quite the seasons for you. I mean, every series I call that you're in, you are a contender. And, man, this is just another one. You're leading the points. You cement it in with a win. And I don't know if you've taken a look at the standings, but a lot of guys behind you, man, had a lot of trouble. So this was a good race to have tonight. Congratulations on the win, Tom. You got anybody you want to thank?
I want to thank Jerry and Eric for talking through things, and we helped each other out the whole race. I want to thank Alan for putting a ton of work in on this series. I mean, he does a great job, gets it broadcast, and he does a ton of work, and his time is, valuable. And you guys do a great job of broadcasting it. A lot of guys race. It was a pretty clean race, really. all in all, and I want to thank all the guys in the league for racing clean. And I was a little nervous when I had my brake bias too far to the back from practice and qualifying. I almost wrecked. So I knew I had a big hill to climb, but I got lucky, pretty lucky. No damage and a couple wrecks, so it was a good night.
Hey, heck of a run, Tom. And, man, next week off, but keep the momentum rolling here in a couple weeks. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yep, I'll see you guys someday, hopefully.
Or no, you're not going to see me, Tom. I'm away. So my little brother's having a bachelor party down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll be driving home, so we're going to have some subs. But I will possibly, I was going to tell Ryan after the end, but I'll tell him now. I'm probably just going to chime in when I get home. Just reappear. I don't want paid. I'll just see what's going on.
You probably won't feel the best either if you're going for a bachelor party.
Well, see, actually, truthfully, and I do mean this.
You're going to GoPro?
I'm the sober one. I mean, I'm not sober with the green stuff, but I'm the sober one with the alcohol.
Okay.
I won't be doing much drinking, so I'll feel just fine on the way home.
Be careful down there in the Carolinas with that green stuff. They're not very progressive on that stuff. Georgia, the Carolinas, from what I hear.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to hide it. We'll make some brownies. What can I say?
Go over,
but hey,
if you're going to Charlotte, okay, go over to, I think it's called Trackhouse now, but it used to be GoPro, and go over and ride go-karts. It's unbelievable.
Yep, I'm not kidding. That's in the plans. That's what we're doing Friday afternoon. We already have things set up, because there's a bunch of us going down. But, hey, thanks for the information there, Tom.
Hey, no problem.
I mean it, man. You're one of my favorites. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks. Have a great week.
Tom Ogle brings home the win here. And, well, JR, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I don't have a lot left in me. But how they were able to chat it up after 300 laps, man, that is, they got to be tired. It's break time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like Neff said during his interview, this is one of those tracks. When you do 300 laps, you're wiped out mentally, and even the physical aspect of simulation racing takes over. And, the room you're in, it gets warm because your computer's having to work hard. You're working hard on the wheel, trying not to get into the guys around you, at the same time trying to be fast enough that they don't get into you. It's a workout, especially when you have that big long run that they had during this race, that middle part, and we even saw the green flag pit stops. That is tough, because that's not something that these short track drivers usually have to deal with, making green flag pit stops. There was a lot going on tonight, and those drivers that finished up front in the top three, they really did a nice job.
A lot going on tonight, JR, but you know the deal, man. There's a lot coming up this week on the Virtual Grip Network. This Thursday, I believe you'll be in for that, JR, right? You're at the USA International Speedway?
Indeed. That's going to be an interesting race. That's when we go with the SK Modifieds, and everybody, I think, on the service that has raced at USA knows how line sensitive that track is. So going to be a lot of jockeying for position to get down to the bottom there.
You see, back at Sobo Saturday, Gateway on Sunday. A new thing coming up, the triple bypass on Tuesday. Check that out. But as we mentioned, we're taking the break week off, and then we're back at Langley Speedway. How are you feeling, JR? I mean, what is that? We're doing 250 laps. That's another, man. We may have green flag pit stops again.
Yeah, absolutely. Langley's one of those tracks, odd enough, that seems to have some green flag racing in it. It's a track that can very easily have a lot of contact. It's one of the tracks where you want to be down on the bottom, and just like Bruce Pearson said during his interview, there are some little quirks about that track, some uniqueness to that track, and you're going to see different lines. Some drivers like to dive into turn one early, some like to do an arc. So yeah, different driving styles. If we get long green flag runs, you will see drivers that were fast early not be fast late in a run, and that's what makes it interesting. So hopefully we get a long enough run to see that, and then like you said, probably gonna have to have some pit stops, which is interesting in itself on a short track.
Well, that's gonna wrap it up here for the YesterYear Tour Modifieds. I'd like to thank my partner JR Shepard, the dude in the back, Ryan Seneker, and last but not least, we at the Virtual Grip Network want to thank all of you for tuning in. Have a great night, and JR, Thursday, football's back. Thank God.